and welcome to the Meta Cafe. Grab your cup of coffee and sit with me for your next few minutes of astrology, tarot, and actually we'll be without tarot this morning, but human design energy report. We're missing our Jason this morning. Something was going on that he couldn't be here. So it's just me. So here we are at the beginning of a new week. And I hope everybody had a very happy Thanksgiving and went out and got crazy shopping, some shopping done for Christmas. I know that I was so looking forward to the Thanksgiving holiday being with family, and I went into that holiday with hope and joy and excitement, and I came out of this weekend with a completely different person. Not sure who that person is yet. But something occurred that rocked my world, and I don't know where to put that. I don't know how to put that all in play. I don't know what it means for who I am and who I thought I was and what love was in the world. And so I'm kind of opening up this week and just being more in a heart-centered place, perhaps. And interestingly enough, when life knocks me down, or when life knocks at my door, let's say, something interesting always seems to show up that creates an opening for me. And that happened this weekend in the form of a book that was called Human by Design. Funny thing, I thought it was a human design book, but it turned out it was written by Gregg Braden, who's one of my favorite metaphysical authors. He's very scientific in his approach to everything, but he's also very heart-centered and very much around the metaphysics of life here on this blue planet. And he begins to tell a story about our human evolution, and I'm calling it evolution in a loose sort of way, because he introduces a concept called intelligent design, which I'd heard about before, so it's not like that was a new term or a new piece of information, but the way he was applying it to our human evolution struck a chord with me, struck a note of truth with me. And so I'm in the midst of reading that book, and part of what he is saying is information about the heart and how the heart has neurites and neurons that connect it directly to the brain. In other words, the heart has the same kind of tissue that the brain has, which means that the heart also thinks. And so that was not necessarily a revelation to me, but the way that he was using the words, the way he was putting the information together seemed very interesting to me. So good morning, everybody. I see people are joining us and realizing, of course, Jason isn't here with me this morning. At the last minute, he had to bow out. He gives his apologies and will most likely do something on Instagram later with the card of the day. So at any rate, this book has sort of been opening me up, and I was really thinking about how some people, when they've had heart transplants, experience the emotions, the tastes, the desires of the person whose heart they now are, that's now in their bodies. And how can that happen? I mean, if the organs of the body are just, pieces of machinery that happen to be flesh and blood, then that shouldn't be able to happen, right? So it tells me there's something bigger going on with our humanness, with our bodies, and the connection that we have to spirit. And again, not that I didn't know that or feel that in my own being, but I find it interesting that now science is catching up. And of course, most mainstream scientists won't even touch this with a 10-foot pole, at least not yet. And that's because it radically shifts our paradigm. It radically shifts our thinking about who we are, about where we came from. And so I would encourage people, if you're interested, get the book. It's called Human by Design, written by Gregg Braden. And I got it on Kindle for $1.99, which was extraordinary, probably with some kind of cyber weekend sale. But I would definitely get it and read it with an open mind and see if it rocks your paradigm. So it's Monday, And we like to start the week with some new information about what we're experiencing for the week, and then I'll bring it into the day. This morning, we begin the week with a very empowering Pluto sextile the moon. Pluto in Capricorn, the moon in Pisces this morning, and very creative energy in Pisces. So we have a Pluto in Capricorn that's got the nuts and the bolts and how to empower ourselves. And it's in a very favorable aspect with the moon in Pisces, which gives us that creative edge that allows us to sort of intuitively connect with information or with ideas and inspiration that we maybe didn't have access to before that. Good morning, Roseanne. It's good to see you out there. And both the Pluto and Moon sextile are in a challenging aspect to the North Node this morning. Pluto's at 17 Capricorn, the Moon at 17 of Pisces, and the North Node at 17 Leo. That makes it an inconjunct. So what we're looking at, people, is a Yod, the finger of God, which is a configuration that is fairly energetic and difficult. And, you know, even saying that word makes me a little uncomfortable because it's not difficult in the way that, you know, you have to struggle or work hard or, you know, overcome something. It's more that it's difficult in a way because we have to learn to adjust and maybe sacrifice something in order to move ahead. And what we're moving ahead toward is our destiny. And that's beginning our week. So the North Node in Leo is asking us to trust our heart. Catch a theme going on here. And so it's really kind of funny that, you know, we have this energy this week, then starting out the week with the heart, meaning what do you desire? What do you truly love? And what do you truly want to have in your life? And what is it that you might have to give up or adjust either in your thinking or in your heart to allow yourselves to connect at that level with your destiny? And of course, remember, Leo was the host of the eclipse, the solar eclipse back in August. So something opened up for us at that point in time that we can now connect with maybe in a more complete way. Or maybe you're just seeing the inklings of this change that I spoke about this morning and how I'm feeling about life in general, about family, about home, about security, and all these types of things, and how they can inform you. And if you lean into that, how you can open your heart more and more and more. This week, we also start out with Mercury, the planet that is in the shadow of its retrograde, but not yet retrograde, conjuncting Saturn at the galactic center. So we are receiving information from the highest of highs, the place that is the source perhaps of God or universal mind. It doesn't matter what you call it, but the galactic center and any planets that conjunct that area are kind of telescoping or beaming us information. And it's usually something that is going to create a change in your life, an elevation perhaps, or an evolution of the cosmic order as it relates to you personally. Saturn says, okay, you've got a new form and structure to play with, so what are you going to do with it? And then the fact that Mercury is there, Mercury is actually maybe helping to be the translator of some of this more highly energetic energy, or these particles, or these packets of energy that are flowing into the earth, and helping us to translate it into a language that we'll understand, that of the heart, hopefully not that of the mind. And the shift here for everyone is that you may have to get out of the way of your own beliefs and your own philosophies in order to actually make this work. So if you've always believed that the heart was the heart and that it was just a pump that was just pumping blood through your system, you may have to open up your mind a bit to understand that the heart is much more than that, that the heart is the seat of the soul, and it has the same kind of neural network that the brain has. And it deals in the language of emotions, and it deals in the language of desires, and getting us from a heart-centered place to a manifestation in the world that we want to be. And the trickiest point of the week possibly is the fact that Mars begins the day at 22 degrees Libra, which is also known as the Eris point, Eris, the goddess of discord, who was discovered when she was at 22 degrees of Libra, and that is the point at which discord entered her particular brand of discord, which is very feminine, and extremely, I want to say, vengeful, discordant, let's just say. She dares to bare her breasts and her teeth and do the things and create the atmosphere through which change can happen when anybody's energies have been kept down or locked away. So what we have with Mars here is we got a very masculine principle sitting at feminine discord. Hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned. This has in part been in part the drive, Eris, that is, has been sort of the drive behind some of the revelations that have been going on in the world about how politicians and sports figures and actors and directors and producers and all kinds of men in power have been abusing women throughout the last several decades and maybe time, like going way back, and how that's changing. And it always, this kind of change always begins sort of in the more negative realm, right? In the more shaking up and creating of havoc, of discord, because out of that, then we can see our path forward. Once all the pieces have fallen on the board, let's say, then we can maybe see our way into a new way of behavior. A new way of being, a more in harmony or in balance way of being. But I don't see that happening this week. I see that there's probably more to come, more that will fall, more of the divine feminine energy rising up and creating a bit of the discord in the moment, as a way to shake out the harmony that we need to achieve, the equality that we need to achieve, the correct behavior that everyone needs to achieve in dealing with one another in the world. Let's see. So today the moon, as I said, is in the sign of Pisces. So we have access to intuition. We have access to creative energy, to compassionate energy. So even though, I've probably experienced some of the more difficult days in my most recent history, I have also recognized that a lot of self-love has to be devoted to myself or self-love, right? Compassion, being okay with the way things are. And the moon in Pisces today and for most of tomorrow will take us there. But before she gets through the rest of the sign of Pisces, she will conjunct the planet Chiron, or the asteroid Chiron, and yet again trigger a little bit of a wound perhaps as we move through tomorrow. And, don't be afraid of the wound, everybody, because it's, to me, I think about, when you've gotten a cut and it's somehow you didn't have a chance to clean it, and you almost have to pull the scab off and clean it in order to get a really good heal. And that's kind of where we are, right? The wound with Chiron in Pisces is about our connection to source or God or universal mind, whatever you want to call it. It's about faith. It's about surrendering to a higher purpose and letting go and letting God. So if we can move through this with our faith intact, that everything is happening in its divine right way, then we don't have to be in the way of what is happening, and we can let go and let God, just allowing the way the world is going to be revealed. And right now I feel like, we're being prepared for some big changes. We'll speak more about that as the week goes on. In the meantime, everybody have a great day, and hopefully Jason is back with us tomorrow morning, and we'll get an idea of what the tarot cards hold in store for us. And tomorrow also begins the new Human Design Week, so I'll have a new Human Design Gate to talk to you about as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.